goals in front at quarter time. So the Blues get anything happening at all through the middle, you know, they're right back in this game.
In the middle, one ruckman to another. Kerr, the bump by Simpson instead of the tackle. Darling got both mitts on it. Did well Dygan to bring it to ground and end. Tim picked that one out earlier, and it is a worry in the air because Darling clearly has him in the air. And there is the non-tackle.
Just got to tackle.
Yeah.
Just got to wrap your arms around blokes like Kerr.
That man there, Simpson, who should have tackled. He's the player that Carlton have missed in the last 4 or 5 weeks. They've really shut his work down on the outside.
Yeah, he's one of their best carriers, isn't he? This is a free kick going West Coast way here, too high.
I'll be very interested to look at this one, boys. Luke Shuey's very good at the little drop of the knees, and I reckon he's milked this one nicely. I'm not saying he's doing it completely intentionally, but he's very good at just lowering his centre of gravity a little bit and getting the high tackle.
But even if they do that, Lingy, you're allowed to, and they've got to be tackled correctly. I thought it was okay. Shuey comes in from 45 out to the near side. Do you disagree, Lingy?
No, I agree completely with you, BT, that you've still got to tackle the player well, but just there's some very clever players who just subtly lower their centre of gravity, can milk that little free kick, and it's up to the tackler to adjust to that and make sure they get low. Never
go away, those old Geelong things, do they? You know, against the good sides, Tim.
11-4 the free kick so far this game too, in favour of the West Coast Eagles.
I think Lingy was being diplomatic then, BT.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So West Coast kicking to the right of screens in this quarter. Watson, big thump. Dygan, was it deliberate? Looked a bit like it was. Got away with it. Crowd getting up over 33,000, which is an excellent Thursday night footy crowd. Flocked in from work. Game starting at local time over here of 5:30, so a lot of people still would have been sitting in the office chair or with a shovel doing some road works at an intersection. Gaff gathers near the boundary line. Kicked it across the face and out of bounds on the full.
Just watching Andrew Carrotto, it's understandable given what he's coming back from with his busted shoulder, but the ball that was on the ground then, he just sort of reached in tentatively. Now, that's not the way he plays. His first 3 games of the year were just outstanding, but it's going to perhaps take a while for him to get his full confidence back.
Warnock's got to go. Armfield. Brock McLean from the standing start. Now Henderson's got to beat a couple here. Great tackle by Glass. Spills the ball free for McKenzie. Really good West Coast play. Now the long kick down there to Cox. Hill in front of Cox.
That was a terrific mark by Big Dean Cox. He was caught out. Simpson was actually caught out on Cox, and while the ball was in the air, Jamison had to come back onto him. He never really felt comfortable, and that's why he grabbed his arms around him.
He is a big unit, isn't he?
He's a worry when he goes up to that end of the ground, isn't he?
And when he's not there, Nat Nui's there.
Yeah. Good luck, Jamison, tonight. Cox, pretty reliable in this part. That one's across the face and the minor score.
That's when they got these ruckmen, these huge ruckmen, the Eagles, Nat Nui and Cox swapping at full forward. They're just causing mismatches down there. Cox went down there and had Simpson on him for about 10 seconds. Jamison tried to roll over, then he didn't feel comfortable on it. It's just a great problem. Great asset for the Eagles, should I say.
Walker coming deep into defence now. Here's the superstar Judd.
Might just get Lingy to keep an eye on that matchup too. I think it is Scotty Selwood that's gone to Chris Judd.
It is, Timmy, you're right there, mate. I think they're rolling over pretty well to cover for each other. They do not want Judd having a good night tonight.
Armfield had to put his head over and he won it too. Brendan got him in the scone. Well, Walker, who's really making an effort to try and get some run from half-back now as he gets himself behind the ball. Selwood of the Adam variety to Glass, banged into by Robinson. The Betts to Dygan.
And BT, if you look at the differences between the forward lines at either end of the ground, the West Coast Eagles are rotating 4 bigs at their end. Carlton are trying to do it really with Henderson being the focal point and Cruiser giving him a bit of a chop out, but they just don't have the options that the Eagles do at the other end.
It's interesting with Hampson pulling out before the game because the conditions were so damn wet. I wonder whether, you know, now in retrospect, whether they'd make that same decision knowing that the conditions have dried up somewhat and that they're a tall man short. Naitanui punched by Warnock.
But he's injured, BT Hampson.
Well, he's apparently got a bit of a sore back, Richo, but there was a lot of rain happening here when that decision came through.
We're not 100% sure on that one, but
been a shocking weather week here in the west, we believe. Some coastal winds have done a bit of damage around the state. Great play. Eagles go again, this time deep into attack, and Dargan the man, Dargan the free.
Good body positioning by Dargan.
Did well.
Yeah, he did really well. He's outsized there by Darling. And Darling just having to be too physical, just trying to reach over the top of him.
That's the worst position ever for a defender, the ball coming over your head, and he did it really well. Dargan pushed back hard.
Judd corralled in the end. Weren't able to find their way out of it, Judd. And given a bit of Rosa treatment there. As he goes for a spell onto the bench.
Do you reckon they're ever happy with a decision here at Madison's? It should be every time.
Warnock's free. See Walker again. There he is going around the back with Gibbs. So that is a deliberate ploy, I reckon, Tim, to get Walker behind the ball just to try and get them some outside run off half-back when they do win it. Great tackle by Mitch Robinson on Kerr.
Well, we know he came into the AFL as a highly credentialed midfielder, and last year he had probably his best season so far as a goal-kicking forward, but they've needed him back in the midfield with the loss of Murphy.
Cox, nice work. Kerr knew it was going there too. He was on the move 30 seconds before it happened. Knocked away by Watson from Lynch. Hill, clever little tap. Marston couldn't control it. Scotland's got to go. He does on Lynch. Lynch smartly didn't take possession of the ball. Through the traffic, Carazzo did well. High tackle, Carlton outside now. Allard, or is it Joseph? It's the latter. Little kick sideways. Good play now to Walker. Walker on the wing, low ball, Cruiser and Glass. Free kick will go against Glass here.
He did it well to draw that free kick then, Cruiser, because he couldn't get any separation. He didn't have the pace to get away from Glass.
Cruiser, long and deep, 2-on-1 again. Cox gets back, Henderson, no chance. Let's see if Carlton can lock it in their half of the ground for any length of time. Up against this machine that is the West Coast Eagles. Spinning pirouette out of trouble from Adam Selwood. Put Marston under some real pressure from Allard. And we'll throw it in. Still half forward here for the Blues.
She reads the play well. Dean Cox always getting back, helping out his defenders. That was a good mark inside his defensive 50.
Carazzo on the head of Walker. Schofield with the fist. So giving themselves second opportunities here now. Shuey, bottom of the pack, and you talk about the big fella Cox, 238th game here tonight. Richo will need 2013 and probably a little bit of the following year as well to get past Glenn Jakovic's games record of 276 games. But he is one, I reckon, that will probably end up doing it, Cox.
Gee, he'd have to
2 more years at least.
Have to slow right down next year to not go on into 14. He'd probably get there, I'd say, BT.
Absolutely. And Cox tonight becomes his 7th West Coast Eagles games holder of all time, drawing level with Ben Cousins on 238 games. So pushing himself into some company that is indeed great. The Blues inside 50. Walker so often flies without the thought of landing.
Oh, look at this. They're out.
They are indeed. They are out. Marston gathers the ball on the wing, kicks it long. Look at Darling on his bike. Does he keep going? He has to now. He dropped the mark. Watson's holding on. Little kick out, almost soccer style. Bit of a cross it was. Now Tui had to be clean. He was with the first part, but not the second part.
Darling's pace then, running back inside 50. He had about a 50-metre sprint on Watson. He just couldn't go with him. He dropped the chest mark, but it's just a good illustration of how quick he is, Jack Darling.
Ratton's got to wonder why there were two West Coast Eagles players outside the defensive 50 there, though.
Shepherd. Kick to the near side.
I mean, the Blues have done a really good job of locking it in their forward line, and then once it broke from half forward, there were two West Coast Eagles players just sitting outside defensive 50.
Some blood on the knee here of Tui. As they make this opportunity. Just on the knee there, Lingy, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. It is, BT, yeah. Just bleeding on the knee. That'll clean up pretty quickly. He'll be back on very soon.
I've had plenty of time.
And Lingy, can you just keep an eye on... I think Ellard's now moved off Kerr, and it looks like Carazzo may have gone to him, Lingy.
I think Carazzo's trying to pick him off at stoppages. Kerr gets on the move so much and comes through and with so much momentum. Carazzo's trying to pick him up on the defensive side of the stoppage. Not working that well at the moment, though. Kerr playing some good footy.
Marston goes around, gets some momentum behind the kick and drills it long. Lynch in really good body position off hands. Danger, danger, danger. Jumped on it, Joseph. Now, will he be pinned here? I think Darling's actually got possession of the ball. Gone.
Dive on the ball.
He
dive on the ball. Real kick. He dive on the ball. You must knock it clear. He dive on the ball. You must knock it clear.
Yeah, he did, but I'm not sure what else he's meant to do down there.
Well, let's have a look and see if they pile on him.
But he got knocked to ground as he took... I don't agree with it.
And the ball's up high. I don't reckon he's even got possession of the ball there.
How can you get it out when there's three guys on top of you?
Jack Darling, the result. In he comes. Kicks the goal for West Coast. 15-point West Coast lead.
Here's another look at this. Joseph takes possession of the ball. He was already on the way down as he took possession. Then he is just... Jack Darling's just jumped on top of him. I don't know, Timmy. How do you get rid of that? Seriously.
Ball in.
Back out the middle. Rosa goes long and deep again. It's a good ball. Dangerous spot. Darling once again saying he got hit in the head there.
So Joseph may as well not try and win the ball then.
Well, you don't want to discourage players from being courageous and winning the ball in that situation, but I still reckon we've got the interpretation wrong, and that is whoever locks the ball in should be penalised, not the bloke who actually has the courage to go and win the ball, even if it is on the ground.
Scotland elects the outer side again. Here comes Cruiser. Got a fist there, Natanui. Judd kept it alive. Armfield now. And they're having enormous trouble getting this ball out of the forward end of the West Coast Eagles. Worsfold's team extremely well coached, aren't they, in the way they set up and do things. Rosa, Shuey, and now Gaff. Gaff on the left. Long ball, swap positions. Tui with Hill there. He won that body contest. Darling through traffic again, stripped by Judd initially. Little kick by Darling. Almost fell into the waiting arms, and Hill happy to send it over the line. And
what the West Coast Eagles forwards are doing is they're trying to get rid of Jamison. So whoever he picks up, they're bringing up the ground. They're happy to isolate Hill and Tui, and they're happy to isolate Dygan and also Darling. But they want Jamison out of there.
Eagles have had 10 of the last 12 scores in this game, and it doesn't look like changing. Natanui from 60 metres out, long and deep. Left standing is who? Through traffic, couldn't get it done. Danger. Darling will try and scissor kick that.
He didn't dive
So 10 of the last 12 scoring opportunities have gone the way of the Eagles. Biggest lead of the game, 16 points. Darling again, this time tackled, knocked the ball out, quick kick by Hill.
Well, the game's just been played totally the way the Eagles want it to be played. Time in their forward half, they've got their press in place, they've shut down Carlton's game altogether.
So what I want you to tell me, Tim and Richo, is how, if you're Carlton, do you get out of this giant human trap?
Well, I don't think they can kick through the press at the moment. They need to try and probably run it through at this stage.
Spread them first.
Yeah.
And then try and get it into the hands of the quicker players like Yarran. Try and get Simpson involved, but the Eagles have just locked them right down. They've still only had 10 marks for the game, Carlton.
What about you, Lingy? With us at the moment. Back in a moment. Selwood, McGinnity. Little one around the corner. Picked up by Joseph. Marston gathers left side. 2-on-1. Hill in front of Yarran.
Well, that's all started from a stoppage again. I mean, you asked the question about how you can get back into the game. The first place you've got to get back in front is at your stoppages, and Judd actually went at that last stoppage against Nat Nui in the ruck, and they're able to move the ball so easily, and then you're putting pressure on your defence almost immediately.
Josh Hill been a really important player with the injuries they've had up forward. Comes in, and you can see the result there. A little disappointing.
BT
himself.
BT, you asked me how you get it out of your defensive half of the ground. I think you've got to stop just trying to run away from the opposition the whole time and trying to get uncontested ball. Don't be afraid to kick it long to a contest and get numbers there and just force it forward, somehow get the ball up your end of the ground just by contest after contest, and not allow uncontested marks when it comes out.
Walker just got burnt off. Now Selwood really long and deep, and Hill the danger man here again. He's got great evasive skills.
Well, on that last kick in, they had Warnock on the other side of the ground on Nat Nui. He's the tallest man in the Carlton team, yet they refused to kick to him long on that outer side, and they came to Walker and McKenzie on this side of the ground. So either they don't have confidence in Warnock.
Carazzo goes in the Warnock direction. There's Henderson with a fist. Shuey just bangs it back inside 50. In front, not paid to Scotland. Opportunity. Hams just runs it away and kicks the goal.
That's just a great promised goal. There's nothing fancy about that. They just drove it inside their 50 once again. Another repeat inside 50 from the West Coast Eagles, and Hams just gets to the right spot as a crummer and puts the ball through.
The real problem there, though, Richo, is that you've got to actually work the ball closer to the boundary. I mean, Carazzo's kick was too attacking from that part of the ground. It allowed West Coast Eagles then to rebound. This is the first kick down the line from Carazzo. Now, that is there's just too much inside on that kick. It should have been down the line. They can force the contest there, work it over the boundary line, and then just inch their way up the ground if they need to, Carl. But they've just got to turn it into a bit of a struggle.
Selwood from the British handball. In trouble, the Eagles go very wide, searching and finding Shepherd. I said he was out of bounds. So,
Tim, on the back of your point there about the kick, they've still got to get numbers to the fall of the ball. West Coast got the numbers there. Shuey was able to take the ball away just far too easy. If you're going to kick long to a contest, go and swarm that area with numbers and create a contest at ground level.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Simpson back from Carazzo.
Now they're out.
They are. This next possession is of vital importance for Gibbs. Gets it to the contest. That is Henderson there with Glass. They were holding each other, so the umpire happy to let it go. Now Armfield's got to beat a couple. This is where they need the numbers at the contest. Is he making a genuine effort? Umpire said yes.
Well, they worked the ball out nicely. Then Simpson got involved. Gibbs coming through the middle of the ground. They didn't have anyone hitting up through half forward. Everyone was back leading. Then just need to get someone on the lead.
There's Eddie Betts. Now ball to Gibbs. Gibbs, 50-metre line, got it to the dangerous spot in front. Glass just does what he has to do. Glass socketed it straight down the throat of Simpson. That's not a great kick. Mitch Robinson perhaps could have got a free. Mark taken by McKenzie, though.
Just don't throw your arms back. Play on.
Off the instep McKenzie wasn't a great kick, and Joseph's able to mark.
Shit.
And just the bomb without a lot of thought at the moment.
Play on! Yours.
Glass, just a nursing little kick to Shepherd. What's Shepherd got down the line? He's got a Hill that's got a bit of space inside. Over the top they go, Hill and Tui. Tui's got to be clean again. Remember last time? He didn't get the second part of it done. Nat Nui. Hill to Hams was impressive. Ashton Hams, a bender that doesn't come back enough.
Well, they're just working harder at the moment, the Eagles. Another inside 50 there, where they had more desire to get back onto that loose ball inside their own 50, and it's got too much run and spread at the moment, which is meant to be Carlton's strength, and it certainly was early in this season. That was what they were doing.
Eagles 2 goals 8 in this quarter to nothing for the Blues at this stage. 2 goals 8 to nothing. Here's Robinson. Allard. Boundary line's a win for the Blues at the moment. Brett Ratton there, man on his right, responsible for the conditioning. Picked up by Gibbs. Look at the 2-on-1 here. Betts did the right thing and tried to get involved in both of them. Now look at the spread here from Schofield.
You've got to know as a player, though, when you go to that stoppage like Gibbs was, what you're actually going to be facing if you kick the ball down the line. You've got to be looking up and knowing that you're going to be kicking to a 2-on-1.
Betts once again put it to the advantage of Glass. That one needed to be inside and they went outside. And it gave the marker no hope.
Yeah, they've had 3 or 4 inside 50s here in the last few minutes, Carlton, where they've put it in there and they haven't even been able to get a contest and bring it to ground level and let Betts and the small forwards go to work. You've got to at least bring it to ground.
Robinson did well in the initial contest. Cruiser to Betts. Been under enormous pressure as Betts. Now Shuey just takes them on through the middle. Nat Nui just in second gear. Jamison was able to close him down there. Watson now. Precision needed here.
Just an example. They've only had 1 disposal inside their forward 50. They just can't get it to ground and force a contest at the moment.
Dyke to Yaron. Even that handball didn't find the target like it should have. It took the extra metre away from Yaron. And the free kick's going to go the way of Garland here. Against Shuey, I think.
Yeah, but at least Jeff tried to take the ball with his hands out in front, and it forces the defender to make a decision, and he gets
the point you're making before, you're right. He wasn't waiting for the ball to come onto his chest. He reached for the ball and he drew the free kick.
Garland, a chance to just stem the bleed a little, and he kicks the goal, much to the relief of the Blues fans.
And rather than kick the ball just straight down the line, Carlton, then with Carazzo, who's an intelligent player, they actually shifted the ball onto the fat side of the ground and just opened it up and gave themselves a little bit of width and the opportunity to use their really quick players on the outside. Yaron first, even though it really wasn't a clean possession.
Low scoring affair here, 5 goals to 3. 2 goals to 1 in the second quarter, West Coast way. Scrap for the ball in the middle. Eventually comes out. Brennan got a handball. Prittis fast. Cox said go that way to Rosa. Robinson went the sock up. Shepherd not able to control it.
That's a real win for the West Coast Eagles because Carlton had an extra player at that stoppage. The West Coast Eagles had dropped Schofield off the back. They're all one-on-ones at the other end of the ground. So again, they're going to have a free player here, Carlton.
Scotland. Gaff. Brennan with the run through the middle of the ground. Kicks it long to a one-on-one. It's Darling again. Got a hand on it. Lost sight of the ball. Watson in trouble, but did really, really well, Watson. Kick is wide to Simpson now. So the Blues looking marginally better against this all-conquering Eagles lineup.
So they've got the numbers out here too. BT.
This man is known for his foot skills, Watson. Once he gets his confidence, he'll become a major player in that area for the Blues. Robinson short to Garlett.
They've just been able to maintain possession a little bit, BT. As you said, they just started to get a little bit more composure the last few minutes. They've had 4 or 5 marks in a row now.
Kick is long. Down there towards Warnock. It'll go against him and to Rosa.
Gee, big Warnock. He had a big mismatch there. He just needed to go for the mark.
So Rosa to McGinnity. Short ball. Just slow it down. Wait for their players to get into position. Louis over the top. Pritis front and centre. Ashton, Hams, love the name. Watson. Scotland. Nat Nui. Pritis the danger. Did well Walker. Betts. Every possession under pressure.
Great.
The kick was good to Allard. Allard now moving long. He has got 2 sets of one-on-ones. Garlett's the man that keeps his feet. He's the danger. Very fleet-footed. Kick around the corner. Top of the square. Henderson's there. Knocked away from him. Carazzo got it to Armfield. Carlton are back in the game.
He's a good player, Carazzo. Wherever he goes on the ground, he finds a ball. He's just a ball magnet. And was he that actually set up their other goal that ended in Garlett kicking the goal with an intelligent use of the ball to the outer side. And then just finding himself in the right spot at the right time, at the right time, clean ball handling. They're right back in this game, the Blues.
Well, this is what started it all. That kick there, that was just about an impossible kick to make on his left foot. Got a player out. They forced it forward and get a goal, but it all started with the skills of Betts up on the wing.
Fighting goal there from the Blues. Immediately West Coast respond with a Nat Nui clearance into a very dangerous forward setup.
Doesn't it put some pressure on you immediately when you lose the next centre bounce and you've got Kerr running through at top pace and then you've got Nat Nui. You think you've got him covered and all of a sudden he just jumps up and clears the ball.
Pritis and his desperate attempts to win the ball. Hearn just his partner got in the way. Comes off to Rosa. Rosa around the body. Had too much bend on that ball.
So I reckon if Carlton went in with a 15-point deficit at half-time, they'd be pretty happy with their first half's work, knowing that they can improve a lot on what they've been able to produce so far.
Brett Ratton in the well at this ground. Of course, the interchange area is below ground level. Great kick in.
Brilliant.
Joseph.
And Richo's right. They just seem to have settled, don't they? They just seem to be taking their time a little bit with their ball use and not hurrying.
Just in this position here, just giving the players time to get into those set starting positions, so then they've got the spread right.
That's right.
And then they can wait for that present-up lead to develop like that. Beautiful kick.
And they're forcing the West Coast Eagles then to play on the man-on-man all over the ground.
This is how to do it, Lingy. We've only seen a minute or two of it, but this is the way, isn't it?
Yeah, West Coast seem to be retreating a little bit. They're not bringing that same press that they had brought early on in this quarter. And Carlton are able to get control of the ball through that middle and back half of the ground and use it very effectively.
Some direct messages there from the coach to the runner. And he spends more time downstairs than upstairs. Brett Ratton by choice. He feels he can contribute more that way. Shuey, tackled by Gibbs. Armfield, who kicked that last goal, to Jard in a one-on-one. Selwood. That's Adam. Intercepted there by Allard. Marston under pressure. Soccer by Cruiser. Here comes Robertson. He's desperate for the ball. Couldn't win it. Tackle on Rosa partial. Did well Rosa. Back towards the boundary line. Glass. Knew if he took possession he was in trouble. It was smart. Scott Selwood to Gaff. Gaff threaded the needle to Marston. The wheels of the Eagles machine get into motion. And Carlton's Jamison will need to turn this to the boundary line very quickly and wait for the troops. Joseph Must keep his feet back up there now.
Good contest.
Fighting a little harder now, Tim, they are. Armfield.
He's back.
That was a good 2-on-2 contest, wasn't it?
Yep.
I mean, the West Coast Eagles players knew exactly what the Carlton players were trying to do. They're going to try and play the boundary line. They were trying to bring the ball back inside. It was a terrific contest.
I reckon they've won the last 5 minutes here, Carlton. Before that, it was all one way for the Eagles, who are absolutely dominant. Nui the punch off to Allard. A chance to stick it well and truly inside 50. He goes for home and misses.
You're spot on, BT. I think Carlton have controlled the last 5 minutes, and they've done it through getting a lot more ball through the middle of the ground. But surprisingly, Chris Judd still with only 5 touches for the game. You wouldn't expect him to have a quiet entire game. So if he lifts in the second half, look out, the Blues might come back and win this one.
Got a bit of moisture there, Lingy, have we?
Yes, the rain's finally coming down, guys. That'll make it obviously a lot more slippery. It's only 11 seconds to go in this quarter, but I'll keep an eye. If it keeps raining through half-time, it'll make it a slog in the second half.
It will. Dries very quickly the ground, but in heavy rain here all day. Judd. Carazzo, they'll get one last chance if Scarlett was clean, but he won't. There is the siren. So a very intriguing game of football. We've got Eagles by 14 points here at half-time. It is absolutely pouring and rain, but you can see the enthusiasm generated there from the Blues team. They're happy with the last bit of that quarter. They are indeed. West Coast leading it by 14 points here at the moment. Still plenty more to come. Stay with us. 5-12-42, Carlton 4-4-28. Lots more to come on the other side of the break.